Hi everyone, I have a really amazing Bible code that I would like to share with you, and it's this one right here, and it happens to be on the Rapture, and like I said, it's really amazing. But before I get into the table, I just want to mention something about the last table that I had done a video on, and that's this one right here that was on America. And like I had said in that video, the matrix actually seems to read like a prayer. And I just wanted to let you know that what I've done, I should have done this initially, but I didn't when I first did the video. But what I've done is I've actually formatted the matrix into a prayer, and I've signed it off at the bottom like this. And I just thought this would be a really good idea if anyone wanted to post that on Facebook along with the Bible code. I also posted a link for the Bible code in there as well. So if anybody wants to share that or post it on Facebook, I just thought that would be a good idea, just in case anyone wants to pray for America and they don't know what words to pray or what to say. It's like God gives us the words right here of how we could pray for America. And I just thought that would be something really neat to put on Facebook if anyone has that and wants to post something like that on there. I don't happen to have Facebook, so I can't do it, but I just thought that would be a good idea to do that. And the prayer is actually not so much a prayer for America, because as most of us know, there's really no hope for America at this point in time. The Bible speaks of Babylon being destroyed, and it will be destroyed, but this is more of a prayer for those who live in America or sojourn in Meshach, as it says in the Matrix. That's what it's a prayer for. And it's a prayer for being delivered out of it, just like it says in the book of Revelation. It says, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins." So that's basically what it's a prayer for. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is that I don't know if people understand the significance of what's being revealed here. The fact that it's calling America Meshach is saying, "Woe is me that I sojourn in Meshach." So this is actually like a third witness to this testimony right here, because I don't know if many of you know this or not, but in the Hebrew text, I've heard people like Mark Biltz or Chuck Missler talk about this, how it's encoded in the Hebrew text right where it has the words Gog and Magog. It has Obama's name encoded in there in ELS form. So that seems to be one witness. And then you have the second witness, which is Nathan's testimony. And now you have a third witness in the English text that seems to identify America as Meshach, because the word America is encoded in ELS form in this table, and it's saying that I sojourn in Meshach in the matrix, and that I dwell among the tents of Kedar, and Kedar is the son of Ishmael. And he's also described as a dark-skinned man. So it's even given us a description of what Gog looks like. Because I know a lot of people think that Gog is Putin and that Meshach is Moscow. But that doesn't seem to line up with what's being revealed here in this table, or in the Hebrew text, or with Nathan's testimony. So like I said, this seems to be like a second witness to Nathan's testimony, because you have one in the Hebrew text, which would be like one Jewish witness, and then you have one in the English text, which would be a Gentile witness. So you have two witnesses, one Jew and one Gentile, testifying to the fact that this testimony is true, and then altogether you have three witnesses. And the Bible says, out of the mouth of two or three witnesses, let every word be established. So it's like you have three witnesses testifying to the fact that Nathan's testimony is true and that Obama is Gog. And I also think it's interesting how God uses the word America and he spells it with a K. And I just want to show you what that means. I pulled it up, and over here on the Urban Dictionary it says it's a word used to describe the worst sense of the United States, i.e. imperialism, corruption, and global exploitation of American culture. So I think the fact that God has chosen to encode it in ELS form with the letter K just speaks of how he feels about America at this point. And like I said, this seems to be a third witness to this testimony. So I just don't know if people understand the significance of that. So I just wanted to point it out. And the other thing that I wanted to mention once again, I know I've said this several times, but one of the reasons that I believe Nathan's testimony is true is because of what I had discovered just maybe a month or two before I saw this video. I had just come to the understanding of what the Mount of Olives represents. And I really don't have time to get into all of that right now, but I've talked about it in previous videos. And if you want, you can just go back to some of my videos where I've talked about it. One of them is this one right here, the true third temple. I think I talked about it a little bit in that one. And I think I talked about it a little bit in the one that I did on the two witnesses, which was a while back. It's over here. And this was 3 parts on the two witnesses. So you can watch those videos if you haven't seen them to get a little bit more understanding of what it was I had discovered and what is being represented by the Mount of Olives splitting. That it's actually a representation of the two witnesses. It's actually a representation of the restoration of the temple, the restoration of our DNA, of the human body, and it's actually a representation of the rapture, which is what my next table is about. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain how all of these things are symbolic and how they're all represented by the splitting of the Mount of Olives. I can try to in future videos, but it's just so much to explain that I don't even know if I'm going to have time to explain it before the Lord returns, because if this testimony is true, like I've said before, that means we're down to the wire of these events taking place. And I thought it would happen probably by Passover. That seemed to be a really good time for it to happen. But as we can see, it hasn't happened yet. But Pentecost is also a very probable time for these events to take place. But I just can't see it going much past Pentecost, because Nathan had said in his testimony that it would happen in the coming months. And even in the room that he was in, there was a couple of people that said, well, if it doesn't happen by next year, that means you're a liar. And Nathan started smiling, and he was like, well, what do you want me to say? I'm just telling you what I saw, and the understanding that he got, that it was going to happen within months. Of course, God can always delay his judgment, and there's always a chance it could go longer than that. But Nathan seemed pretty sure that it was going to happen within months. So if that's true, then it's already been several months. And I just don't see it, going as long as a year, because he wouldn't have worded it as being in months, in the coming months. So if it is going to take place and God does not relent and decide to delay this judgment, I do believe it's going to happen very soon. So it's very important for all of us to be prepared for that and be prepared for the rapture, which is what this table is going to be about. And just by the way, the whole depiction of the Mount of Olives is basically the rapture. It's a representation of the restoration, the regeneration, the rebirth, the restoration of the temple of God, which is our DNA, basically. And you'll see how that's depicted in this table and why this table is so amazing that I did on the rapture. So I don't want to waste any more time. I'm already 10 minutes into this, so I'll just go over this table a little bit, and of course I'll have to continue in the next video. But as you can see, this reads at the top, Raptus, which is actually where the word rapture comes from. It's actually the Latin word for rapture. You see it right here, and you see it in the definition for rapture right here. It's saying that it comes from the Latin, which is either raptura or raptus, which means a carrying off, abduction, snatching away. And that's exactly what arpazo means. It means a snatching away, and this is just the Latin word for it is raptus, and it means rapture. And so it's amazing how it came up in this table. And I'll just go over this first one in the rest of this video. But what's really astounding and even more amazing is, what's the most amazing is what's written in the matrix. And I'll read the matrix in the next video, but I'll just go over the terms in this one. And as you can see in this first one right here, we have the words Raptus, and we have Passover because I had found this table quite a while ago, and it's just taken me a while to get to it because I've been trying to prioritize and just present what seems to be the most urgent thing to present next. And I kind of held off on this, but I was just looking over it last night, and I just can't believe I've held off on it as long as I have, because like I said, it's really amazing, and you'll see that once I read the matrix. But I had also put in Passover, new moon, star, stone, and head. And this should actually be in reverse order. It should be head, stone, because when Jesus comes back, he's described as the headstone. He's the top piece of the temple. And so over here we have the word star in the green with the letters S-T-A-R. In the blue we have the word moon, the letters M-O-O-N. And in the yellow we have the word stone with the letters S-T-O-N-E. In the bluish purple we have the word new, the letters N-E-W. We have the word pass over here in the pink, the letters P-A-S-S. And we have over in the plain text. And then over here in the light red is where we have the word raptus with the letters R-A-P-T-U-S. And in the green we have the word head with the letters H-E-A-D. And like I had said, Jesus is described as the headstone, the chief cornerstone that completes God's temple, and that's placed on the top of the temple in Zechariah 4. And then in Zechariah 14 we see that Jesus, when he comes back, he sets foot on the Mount of Olives, which I believe is a picture of what is being described in Zechariah 4. And I'm about out of time, so I'm going to have to continue in the next video. Thanks.